Look at this beautiful bread I just baked. It's a sourdough and it's still warm out of the oven. Do you want to learn how to make your own? Well, watch this video. Okay, so let's do a starter. So to start, you need a starter. You find someone that has one and that is going to give you a piece of their starter. So I got mine from my dear friend Christy, and you can keep your starter in the fridge for a few weeks. I would say 2, 3, 4 weeks. That would be fine. But you can't use it right away and make a bread. You need to make it a fresh starter. So to do that, I'm going to divide it in two and then feed those two. So like that I will have two starters. One that is going to go in my fridge to be my new future starter, and one that I'm going to make the bread in this demo. So to make a starter, you need a starter, you need some bread flour, and you need water. So the water has to be brought to 85, 90 degrees. You don't want it too cold, and you certainly don't want it too hot, because that's what's going to activate the yeast or the bacteria in the starter. So you take 1/3 of a cup of the flour, and since I'm making two, I do that twice. Okay, the water is already at 90 degrees, so I can use it, and I take a quarter cup for each starter. And then I take a spoon out of my old starter, put it with the food and the water and the nice warm bath, mix everything. Okay, so everything is nicely mixed. And I'm going to repeat the same with my second starter. A spoon of the old starter in the new one. I'm basically giving him food and warm water so he can be happy and grow. So now I have two starters. I'm going to cover them, and I'm basically going to let them be at room temperature here in my kitchen for the whole night. And you will see tomorrow they will have evolved. I can now throw away my old starter because I don't need it anymore. One of them will be replacing it. Okay? So see you tomorrow morning. This is the morning. The starters we made yesterday night have been growing for overnight. So let's have a look at them. You see they are alive, they are making bubbles. So this starter I'm going to put in the fridge and to slow down the growth, and it's going to become my old starter since I threw it yesterday. So that's going in the fridge. The other one, I'm going to make a bread with it right now. So see, it's also beautiful, making bubbles. So to make the bread, you need bread flour. I am adding some wheat flour. It's not necessary, but that's what I'm using. Some salt and water. So I'm going to start the water because same as yesterday, it needs to be a little bit warm, 85, 90 degrees. So 100 grams of wheat flour. and 400 grams of bread flour. The total is you want 500 grams of flour. So and then 10 grams of salt. I'm using sea salt. Perfect. So I mix that. So all the flour and the salt is together. Oops. Okay. I put that back on the scale. Yeah, wear an apron. I really wanted to show off my new t-shirt. This is Fleur t-shirt. It's a t-shirt that you can buy actually to help our little micro sanctuary, and especially to fund our medical cares, medical expenses. So it will come without flour though. So I reset, so I have 0 gram, and now I'm going to put 375 grams of water. Perfect. And now, so this is, again, like yesterday, but in big quantity, flour and water. And now I am adding the whole starter in it. And he's going to have a party feeding. Now you mix that. I want all the flour to be absorbed by that into the dough. Okay, that's pretty good. So now that's kind of a sticky dough. And you are going to leave that alone for about 10 hours. I'm going to cover it. And I'm leaving it at room temperature. And I will come back tonight and it will have fluff up. It is 6 in the afternoon, so about 10 hours from the time we made the dough. I've put my Dutch oven in the oven for the last half hour, and it's like 500 degrees because I want to preheat it. Because this is where I'm going to bake the bread. I don't have a bread machine or anything. But I will show you that in a minute. But first, let's prepare the dough. So I have a mat where I put a lot of flour. And this is just regular flour, you know, all purpose. And this is the dough. And look at that, it bubbled. The little starter at a party and ate all the food I gave him, or her. Actually, it's a her. Her name is Sherry. So I'm trying to make a little ball and put a lot of flour. You see, this time I put my apron. And the nice thing with this recipe is you do not have to knead the dough or anything. It's really just in the waiting time. Everything is happening by itself. So now I'm trying to give it the shape I want. You could make it a little ball. I like my bread to be a little bit longer. And don't hesitate to use a lot of flour so it's not sticky. Okay, so that's the shape I want it to have. So now I'm going to take my Dutch oven that is going to be really hot. And before putting the dough in it, I'm going to make those nice slash in the dough and use a sharp knife to do that. And then that's the tricky part. Here we go. You want to see it in the... And now that's going back in the oven. With the lid, and that's critical because that's what's going to keep the moisture inside. You know, usually a bread machine injects some moisture in it. I don't need that because of the top. So that's going to be there for half an hour. Okay, so the alarm just went off. Let's have a look. This is our bread. Look how pretty it is. I'm going to put it back without the cover, switch off the oven, and let it be for 5 minutes so the bread gets some color. Let's have a look at our bread. Ooh, looks pretty. So now let's get it out of the pot and move it to a cooling rack so it can cool down a little bit.